Abel Sanchez admits that he didn't want his fighter, Joe Joyce, to fight Luis Ortiz just yet. Stay tuned.
40 years old, 41? No, I'm asking how old is he? He's a lot older than me. I think he's a lot. Listen to me. Joe brings the heat for that pace that he set in the first round. I promise you, he can maintain that pace, and he's got another gear in him. I think Luis Ortiz's old legs would need some WD-40 on them for that fight. I'm telling you, it's factual. He would put him out. I'm telling you that.
What round? You say this?
I'm not saying he would round. I'm just saying he would punch his face in. I really do believe that.
What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Make sure you smash the like button. Also, subscribe to the channel for the latest and greatest in boxing. If you want to become part of the gang, notification gang, please hit the bell icon. Shout out to the super chats, channel donations, the Venmo donations, and the Patreon family. We working. Now, very interesting interview Abel Sanchez had with IFL TV, link in the description. And he talked about how his fighter, who has an upcoming fight, obviously, this weekend on the Chris Eubank James DeGale card on ITV, which is presented by Al Heyman. His fighter, Joe Joyce, was, his name was linked to possibly fighting Luis King Kong Ortiz. And Abel Sanchez said, basically, Joe Joyce, he wants to develop him more. He's not ready. Let me read a direct quote. He says that Joe Joyce's manager mentioned Luis King Kong Ortiz at the press conference for his last fight. I was at that fight. That was at the Wilder Fury fight. Abel Sanchez says, and I said, there's no way we're going to fight Luis Ortiz. We're not ready for Luis Ortiz. That's a step where in 2 more fights, we'll fight a guy like Ortiz. Right now, it's Bermane Stiverne. He's the type of style I want for Joe, not because he got knocked out by Deontay Wilder, but because he has the style that I want for Joe. If we're successful on Saturday, then we'll start preparing for the next style we want to develop for Joe. His presence is going to be a force, just like a young George Foreman was. That's what Abel Sanchez said. Abel Sanchez continued. He said, hopefully this is the kind of animosity that we see in the ring, referring to the Bermane Stiverne. I don't know if you guys caught it, but pretty lit press conference. Bermane Stiverne stood up, looked like he was going to go after Joe Joyce's manager. He's like, man, you saying shit I never even said, stuff like that. But I want to talk about Luis Ortiz. Once again, new media. This is what I talk about and stand up for when it comes to boxing. Joe Joyce, I like him. I respect Abel Sanchez's honesty here, but I think teams, especially in the social media age, the digital mob, I told you, new media age, it would behoove these fighters and teams to be in unison, make team decisions. You can't have like one person, it looks crazy when the team is almost in discord. Tyson Fury, he was saying he wanted to fight Wilder. Frank Warren was saying he wanted to fight Wilder. I'm talking about in the rematch. And then Ben Davison came out and said, hey, I don't want that. I want Wilder to fight Anthony Joshua if I had it my way, and then we'll fight the winner of that. So it looked like Ben Davis, and now we don't know what's going to happen. Tyson Fury signed with ESPN, right, in Top Rank. So maybe it's possible. We'll have to wait and see. We see this over and over again. It seems like these different teams would take heed to it. Ryan Garcia is another example where we've seen this. Ryan Garcia, he's like, man, I'll fight Gervonta Tank Davis. And then Oscar De La Hoya does an interview with ES News, and then Oscar De La Hoya says, no, Ryan's not ready. He's not ready. Tank, he's a good fighter. He's like, Tank's a badass, And then Ryan Garcia is trying to spar him and set up sparring Tank, him being from Baltimore, being from the streets. He's like, all right, I'm with it. I'll be in LA tomorrow. And he's like, set it up. And then Golden Boy gets in the way. So, it looks crazy. So, like I said, on one angle, I do appreciate when people keep it a buck, keep it 1,000. Abel Sanchez, he lets you know, without any question, that Joe Joyce, he doesn't feel he's ready. He wants to keep, developing his style and make sure he's ready for a guy like Luis Ortiz. See, Joe Joyce looks very powerful. It looks very strong. I know he has an amateur background, but watch his fight with Usyk. You know, his defense can tighten up, and I think he punches pretty wide. And Luis Ortiz, as I keep telling you, this is why people don't want to fight him. Luis Ortiz, he has a good size for a heavyweight. Luis Ortiz also, in my opinion, has the perfect boxer type physique. Pause. Some people think like they watch Creed movie and think that's how boxers are built, you know, on some Hollywood shit, but it's not necessarily. Luis Ortiz is big. He's not like too sliced, too cut up, and you know, where his muscles are taking up so much oxygen and he's depleted and he has no cardio, you know, but he has like strong legs. You know, he's an adequate size heavyweight. You know, we're in a different era where sometimes you see these like cruiserweights that pack on, like Steve Cunningham. He's in shape, but he doesn't really fit today's modern super heavyweight. The guys, like, there's no way I can picture like a Steve Cunningham beating a Klitschko or Joshua or Wilder or Tyson Fury. Like, these guys are just, I mean, he did fight Tyson Fury and he lost, even though he dropped him. But these guys are just like super heavyweight, so it would be hard to compete, you know. And that's like Luis Ortiz has like a boxer frame and prototype, especially for a heavyweight. You look at some of the past heavyweight. Lennox Lewis was big, you know, he's in good shape. But you got guys like Ray Mercer and stuff who he's hitting hard, but he didn't look like no bodybuilder or anything like that. And then on top of that, Luis Ortiz can scrap. He can box, Cuban amateur. So, I mean, I understand why people would want to take time to develop and stuff. But the thing that's, like I said, I just wish these teams would be in unison. Your manager's calling out Luis Ortiz incessantly. Joe Joyce is kind of like quiet, so he was just kind of standing there. I was there. And then Abel Sanchez, he says in this interview, he says, we want to fight him in maybe like 2 fights. But at that press conference, go watch the tape. He said something like in 3 to 5 fights. So, you know, I think they should just be on the same page for the career. Like, maybe the manager shouldn't be. I mean, people can do what they want, but I'm just saying, in my view, it makes you look bad because people want to see it. Like, okay, Joe Joyce versus Luis Ortiz, and they start salivating for it. And then the manager's going crazy saying, oh, Luis Ortiz, what a fool, what an old man. He's like 100 years old and talking smack. And then your own trainer is saying, we're not ready for the old man. So how does that make sense? Do you get what I'm saying? How do you say this guy's old and, you know, he's decrepit and we're not ready for him though? So I think that as a team, they should decide what it's going to be. And, you know, just all of boxing, somebody got to give Luis Ortiz an opportunity. Like, I'm so sick of hearing about people say Joshua just said Luis Ortiz's name again. You know, everyone keeps saying Luis Ortiz's name, but there's no contract attached to it. You know, so it's just like almost clout chasing. Like, see, that's what I respect about Deontay Wilder. He didn't just say Luis Ortiz's name. He did something about it. And he got put through the ringer in that fight. So, who's the next to take the Luis Ortiz challenge? I don't want to hear anybody, and I keep saying the same thing. I don't really want to hear about anyone calling out Luis Ortiz when they have a fight, calling out Luis Ortiz when he has a fight, calling out Luis Ortiz saying he's old, but then they're not fighting him next or need more time. You know, it's just getting old. And no pun intended. I feel like people should just leave that man alone unless they're ready to start negotiations and complete them and fight him. The other thing that's wrong with it is you get these casual dumbass fans where they'll start trying to roast Luis Ortiz for fighting mediocre names, you know, fighting like Travis Kaufman, fighting the guy he's fighting, Christian Hammer or whoever, on the Edeslandi Lara upcoming card. You know, they're not mad that Joe Joyce is fighting Bermane Stiverne, who's been on a long layoff since November, since Wilder knocked him out. You know, even though he has an amateur background and he's fresher and undefeated. But they'll give Luis Ortiz shit knowing people aren't chomping at the bit to fight him. Let me know what you guys think. Who will take the Luis Ortiz challenge? Drop your thoughts in the comment section. Make sure you smash the like button as always. Hate, comment, and subscribe. Till next video is Ego. Signing off. So if you enjoyed this video and want more content like this on the channel, you can show your appreciation by going to the PayPal donate button or the YouTube support button, and you can donate any amount that you feel is equivalent to the value of this video. Much more to come. Thank you guys for your support. Boxingego, the future of boxing.